Number 10, you know that warm, cozy feeling when you walk into a room that's been sealed for a century. That invisible hug you can't escape? Yeah, that's not a hug. That's a very slow, very polite death. We're talking about asbestos, a mineral that seemed like a miracle when we first dug it up. It doesn't burn, it doesn't rot. It insulates like a dream. So we stuffed it into ceilings, walls, pipes, brake pads, even hairdryers. For decades, it was the building material that just wouldn't quit. One specific detail: by the year 2000, asbestos had already killed over 100,000 people in the US alone. And those numbers are still climbing, because the stuff takes 30 to 40 years to finish the job once you breathe it in. Imagine if you invited a friend over, and they just stayed in your house forever, not talking, not moving, just slowly turning into knife, sharp dust that shreds your lungs whenever you walk through the living room. That's asbestos. Sometimes the friendliest construction material is just a murderer in disguise. Number 9, picture this: you're at the gas station, pumping liquid that's been spiked with a heavy metal neurotoxin, and you're breathing in the fumes. That was normal for almost a century. Leaded gasoline. We added tetraethyl lead to fuel because it stopped engines from knocking. Seemed like a win. Smooth cars, happy drivers. Except the lead didn't just disappear when the gas burned. It went into the air, into the soil, into the water, and straight into every single person's bloodstream. Here's the anchor fact: by the 1980s, the average American had a blood lead level nearly 100 times higher than what we now consider safe. That's not a little off. That's catastrophic. Think of it like this: you have a headache, so you take a pill that fixes the headache, but slowly melts your brain. For decades, we made that trade off for every car on the road. We literally poisoned an entire generation just to make our engines purr. Number 8, you know how people say, anything can be a weapon if you're creative enough. Well, the most popular pesticide in history took that personally: DDT. During World War II, it was a hero. It wiped out typhus, saved soldiers from malaria. The guy who discovered it won a Nobel Prize. We sprayed it everywhere: crops, homes, parks, even directly on kids to kill lice. It was a miracle chemical. But here's the thing: DDT doesn't break down. It sits in the environment like a toxic time capsule, and it gets concentrated as it moves up the food chain. By the 1960s, birds of prey were laying eggs with shells so thin they'd crack under the weight of a mother bird sitting on them. The bald eagle nearly went extinct. You ever leave a plastic bottle in the sun and watch it get brittle? That's what DDT did to the entire food web, but slower and with more screaming. We cheered for a chemical that almost silenced the skies. Number 7, imagine you're trying to cool down a pot of soup, so you throw it in the freezer. But instead of cold air, the freezer blasts you with 1,000 degrees of heat. That's basically what the atomic age did to conflict. The Manhattan Project. We wanted a bomb that could end World War II. And it did. Twice. But in building it, we unlocked a door that can never be locked again. The technology to vaporize a city is now sitting in multiple countries, some of which are, let's say, not the most stable. Here's the number: the largest nuclear weapon ever tested, the Tsar Bomba, had a yield of 50 megatons. That's over 1/500 times the combined energy of both Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And it was designed by the same basic principles we discovered in the 1940s. You ever leave a firecracker on the ground and wonder how big a boom you could make if you tied 1,000 of them together? Now imagine that's a button anyone with clearance could press. Einstein said it best: I know not with what weapons World War III will be fought, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones. Number 6, you're sitting on your couch. Around you, every single plastic object, the remote, the water bottle, the toy on the floor, is silently screaming, I will never go away. Now multiply that by every piece of plastic ever made. Plastic: cheap, versatile, durable. The perfect material for a throwaway culture. We've produced over 8.3 billion metric tons of the stuff since the 1950s. And most of it is still here. In landfills, in the ocean, in the stomachs of fish, in your own body in microscopic flecks. Here's the gut punch: scientists have found microplastics in human blood, in placentas, in breast milk. You are now literally made of the stuff we invented to make life more convenient. It's like you bought a chair that was so comfortable you decided to sleep on it, eat on it, and eventually dissolve into it. Except the chair is immortal and you're not. We created a material that outlives us, haunts us, and lives inside us. Number 5, have you ever played a game where you try to make someone angry by saying the exact wrong thing? Now imagine that game on a global scale, with algorithms designed to keep you glued to the screen no matter what it does to your brain. Social media algorithms. Their original job was simple: show you content you'd like. But the problem is, content that makes you angry, scared, or outraged keeps you scrolling longer than content that makes you happy. so the algorithm's optimized for rage. One study found that false news on Twitter spreads 6 times faster than the truth. And it's not just a speed thing. It reaches more people, deeper, and sticks longer because your brain treats emotional content like a fire alarm. You know how a mosquito bite makes you scratch until it's raw? That's social media for your psyche. The bite is the algorithm, the scratching is your attention, and the raw wound is our shared reality. We handed the keys to our attention span to a system that profits from our worst impulses. Number 4, you step into your car. It starts instantly. You drive to work without thinking about the millions of tiny explosions happening under the hood. That convenience comes with a bill that's been compounding interest for over a century, the internal combustion engine. When Carl Benz patented his first automobile in 1886, he couldn't have known that his creation would go on to pump over 1.5 trillion tons of coal into the atmosphere by 2025. That's not an invention. That's a geological force. Here's the anchor fact: transportation accounts for nearly a quarter of global greenhouse gas emissions, and the vast majority comes from road vehicles burning gasoline and diesel. We built our entire civilization around a system that is slowly cooking the planet. It's like you installed a heater in your house to keep warm, but the heater is made of gasoline, and you forgot to open the windows. And now the whole neighborhood is on fire. The most liberating device in history also became the most suffocating. Number 3, picture a bird. Now picture that bird's egg. Now imagine the eggshell is so thin you can see the chick moving inside. That's not a miracle of nature. That's a chemical war crime. The pesticide DDT we talked about earlier. It didn't just kill bugs, it thinned eggshells in birds of prey. But that was just the visible symptom. The real horror is that DDT persists in ecosystems for decades, and it's still showing up in Antarctic penguins, in Arctic seals in the deepest parts of the ocean. Here's the kicker: DDT was banned in the US in 1972. But because it doesn't break down, we're still dealing with the consequences. A 2021 study found DDT residues in over 80% of soil samples taken from the Sierra Nevada mountains, places that had never been directly sprayed. You ever spill a drop of red wine on a white carpet? It spreads, it stains, and no amount of scrubbing ever really gets it out. Now imagine that stain is toxic, invisible, and covers the entire planet. We sprayed a chemical that will outlive the last human who ever touched it. Number 2, you're standing on a beach. The waves roll in. Beautiful, right? Except every single wave contains microscopic bits of our own trash. And those bits are now in the clouds, in the rain, in the food you're about to eat. Microplastics. They come from the breakdown of larger plastic waste, from synthetic clothing fibers, from tire dust. They are everywhere. A 2020 study estimated that we ingest about a credit card's worth of plastic every week. Not metaphorically. It's in your drinking water, your salt, your beer, your shellfish. Here's the part that should scare you. We don't fully know what they do to the human body. We know they cause inflammation in lab animals, they can carry toxic chemicals into tissues, and they've been found in human lungs and placentas. But the long-term effects are still a mystery. We're the guinea pigs of our own experiment. It's like you're in a house where the walls are slowly flaking off, and you're eating the flakes for dinner, because you didn't notice they were falling into your soup. We built a world out of something that will never leave us, and we're only starting to realize how it's leaving us. Number 1, you're talking to a friend. They sound exactly like your friend. They say things your friend would say. But it's not your friend. It's a ghost in a machine, and you'll never know the difference. Deepfake AI. The technology that can generate a video of anyone saying anything, with perfect lip sync and realistic mannerisms. It started as a cool novelty, putting Nicolas Cage in movies he wasn't in. But now it's being used to impersonate CEOs, to create fake evidence, to manipulate elections, to destroy reputations with a single upload. Here's the statistic that keeps me up at night. In 2023, there were over 95,000 deepfake videos online, and that number tripled in 2024. The tools are free. The results are scary good. And the safeguards are basically a padlock on a screen door. Imagine you get a video call from your mother asking for money. You see her face. You hear her voice. But it's not her. And you have no way to prove it isn't. That's the world we're walking into. We taught machines how to lie better than any human ever could, and then we gave those machines to everyone. That's all for today. Subscribe.